on Villa. It's gonna be a banger, Des.
Ain't it gotta be? That's the way it needs to start here on the B stream. Damwon. In fact, both of these teams with victories over G2 yesterday. And Damwon and DarkZero, in case you missed it yesterday, did take NIP all the way to 15 rounds. So definitely not looking like any slackies themselves. Fingers crossed we see something special coming out from either side in this game. But of course, first we've got to start out with the operator bans. Damwon starting out with a ban coming in into the Nook.
Well, I'm glad to see, you know, an APAC team just keeping it nice and straightforward. There's nothing, no curveballs, nothing unusual there.
I think a couple of teams have played it, or at least looked at using it, and a couple have banned it away. Thatcher, the next one to follow through. Like I said yesterday, I don't know if it's a trend amongst American teams that they are just that petrified of Thatcher that they'll just ban it. Like, every single NA team in the game yesterday banned away the Thatcher.
So, knock Thatcher, whammy. First 3 bans, we're going to have the final one come out. Valkyrie's been very popular, but not going to be here on Villa. It will be Mirror that goes by the Bayern. This is what I love to see. You know, we've seen the odd little bit of attention towards Knock, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I like seeing the APAC teams. They're not scared of doing something different, Des. They don't mind the fact that they've left Maverick on. They don't mind the fact that they've not banned out a Hibana or a Hard Breach. You know, they don't mind that they haven't taken out those sort of regular operators that you see banned out, that Jackal's still on the board, or, you know, whoever else it might be. It's like, actually, you know, we can see some value in Knock, so that's exactly what we're going to do, and I love to see it.
Well, Maya's been definitely a creep up in terms of ban prevalence as well over the last 24 hours. A good number of teams taking it away. And what I love about this is probably, even as far back as 6 months ago, looking at it, if a team picked up Finker, you'd be saying, oh, APAC team. In fact, it was Cloud9, if you recall, just after SI started trying to make good use of it as a kind of twist into the new year. Not after SI, sorry, just before it back in stage 1. So here you've got DarkZero bringing it along. A couple of teams are now starting to put that in their lineup. Lions made a reappearance with the introduction of the Gon 6. Starting to see a lot more flexibility in attacking lineups, which is only a good thing. And Pamber, he's saying, you know what, Ash, don't care about this recall nurse. He's one of the few players in the world that still brings along this operator.
There are some that can still make it work, Des. You know, we've seen Doki in EUL as well, still bringing along the Ash and, you know, being willing to use it. We'll see how Pamber goes this time around, see just how much use he can put it to. It is going to be an Aviator Games defense to kick us off here on Villa. We've got Damwon KIA on the defense, and they're going to be putting a weight of numbers towards that north side. Right now, there's only Coted on site. Woogiman looking to potentially get himself back, but nope, straight down those red stairs, looking to play underneath. I think he's going all the way to basement, or he's at least holding himself towards the sort of mezzanine of those stairs. Nope, all the way he goes.
Well, you know what they say about the Boogeyman, Ace. Waits under the bed. Woogieman, he waits under the floorboards. We'll wait for him to try and make an appearance upstairs later into the round. A C4 coming out super early, by the way. RoyBoy looking to catch Eclipse as he was up on the Astro window, but finds nothing for his trouble.
Eclipse just sending that drone into the top floor for the time being, but the big question is, does he know about this terror, the threat that lurks underneath as Woogiman gets himself up those Astro stairs? He's going to know that there's one on rappel. He's got a Nitro in hand. He could well put it to use. There he goes, taking Eclipse off the window, and that is the opener for Damwon KIA. And is this the signal, Des? Is this the sounding of that battle cry from Damwon KIA that shows they are going to continue exactly where they left off last night?
I mean, realistically, they're 2 C4s being committed towards one window. They knew that Eclipse plays there, and they really wanted him dead. RoyBoy now going down, as well as Pamber steps in on that Ash and finds one. The first lick of juice coming in from NJR on the Finker. See how things continue from this point forward. Is now at that 4 versus 4 mark and 90 seconds down. Not forgetting that all of those early interactions were up towards the north side of the map.
A lot of time wasted there for DarkZero to get themselves the map control that they want. Quite often yesterday we saw, to give you something to compare that to, that top half, that north side of the map we saw regularly cleared out within the first minute of the round, and that was against teams like TSM moving Ball or Geo out of there, you know. So this is DarkZero that have taken a bit of time to get that sorted, but what a swing from Pamber there. Does not show any fear moving towards that map's door and takes RIN down, giving considering yesterday's performances, that is a big frag to pick up. Now, Woogiman aggressing up the main stairs, looking to potentially get a line of sight down that 90 corridor, playing in behind his deployable shield. It's something that DarkZero need to be aware of. They're going to lose a lot of X-Kairos pellets to him as well. And the second threat comes in for Damwon KIA. It's Yass finding the kill onto NJR. 30 seconds to go.
It could make this a lot sweatier for Yass if they had someone trying to threaten Study, and I think that's what we're finally about to see coming on the setup now, and Yass is aware. If he gets this kill, he has full free reign of Study there, and there will be very little to be able to contest him out. Got to be so wary. Sees the head, doesn't quite land the shots. The swing across might come through. No. 15 seconds to play. One's inside. Yass going to find that kill onto Pamber. A second coming out of Coted. DWG are going to find round number 1 at this rate. Ace BC, the last man left alive, steps in the window. Woogie converting things out on main stairs. DWG starting off with a firestorm in round 1.
It's always a tough challenge onto Yass like that inside a Study, but for me, BC doesn't quite achieve enough there from the window because Pamber, we only saw it very briefly on our screen. You can be forgiven for missing it at home, but what happened was Yass was busy challenging with BC back and forward, and as he swung towards the hatch inside a Study, just on the left of our screen, we caught sight of Pamber on the Ash moving in to maps, and it was a free kill for Yass because his flank was completely exposed, but it also suggests maybe the comms isn't there because Pamber, well, that's maybe unfair. Pamber seemed to be a little bit unaware that Yass was still available and able to challenge him from Study because he's just exposed his entire side to him, but at the same time, Pamber doesn't have much of a choice. He's pushing into maps because he has to because of the clock, but he's also got to pay attention to the rest of the site because otherwise he's going to get shot from there. So he was just forced into this crossfire realistically by the circumstances, but Yass was just allowed a bit too much breathing space. When you've got BC on the Study window there, he'd sort of dipped out of that challenge, and it was unfortunate timing, but it just allowed Yass to be able to hit that shot through onto Pamber, and at that point, the round's over, Des. It falls apart. Coted is able to step out. He finds himself one as well, and it's history at that point.
One of those ones that you look back at it, I think, and as you say, there's a couple of slow moments coming out of DarkZero. Maybe not quite got themselves in the team play setup they wanted to go for. I thought the right idea of getting someone to threaten Study was the right shout. But more commonly, you'll see someone playing on the South Study balcony because that's where you can challenge someone like Yass playing the longer angle. All that said, Dining and Kitchen... I'm going off on this one. Dining and Kitchen going to be the next site that we step into here. I think when we saw this played twice yesterday, TSM played it twice. This was the more preferential second site over playing Trophy and Statuary. For some reason, a lot of teams really not wanting to play on Trophy Statuary all that often.
No, absolutely not. They were looking to move downstairs, and the thing is, Villa is a huge map, and it took a lot of time for us to really see all the sites, you know, thoroughly explored. And as that has happened over the last couple of years, we have seen the odd team that likes to take Trophy Statuary more as a third site rather than a second, and that is the case here for Damwon KIA. We're a minute into the round. They've got a number of players stationed upstairs. Yass particularly inside of Astro. Definitely one to watch. Woogiman just looking to pressure from bathroom into the master bedroom. So Damwon KIA not wanting to give up any territory too easily. BC somehow manages to survive with his drone there. That's a big play as the challenge can't come in. Eclipse manages to find the opener onto Rin, and DZ, they're moving well.
Not too bad so far. I thought for a second that we just saw a C4 coming out from below there. Coted playing below on the mute. But no, by the looks of it, Panbazou and Hyper have just charged their way through from the top of red. Got themselves onto the safety of the concrete block just inside the master doorway. Now should find themselves okay. You can see how they're just holding them. And it's almost like DarkZero know what's going on. They're trying to play the floor is lava as best they can. One C4 and potentially a throw could be enough for them. Out comes one. But that's not really going to do the job. They're not on the right side of that wall. They are standing on top of the concrete. And now movement can start coming through. Yass finds one and drops away. Pamber, his only victim.
Absolutely beautiful from Yass there. Just finding one on the fadeaway as he drops down the hatch straight after to keep himself alive. Levels things up at 4-4. RoyBoy still feeding through a ton of information to his team from that heartbeat scanner. And the vertical angles start to get opened up, but they need to be careful because, of course, as we always say, they do work both ways. Eclipse will be down, but not out. Going to be collected there. It's actually going to be the Finkerstim that does it.
Yeah, gets him back up on his feet. Now the frag grenade coming on a bounce on the way down. Good movement away by Coted. Is it enough to stay alive? Yes, it is. No destruction through the soft wall to pick him off in this instance. Now, BC, the one looking to threaten out towards the east door. But the mobility so far from Damwon, I mentioned about this more loose style. They're dancing around this lower floor, constantly trying to keep DZ guessing. Information expires inside about 2 seconds. NJR finding one. BC comes in. Eclipse finding one onto Yass. This could be the round they need, but 2 kills come flying back in for Damwon. They go for the spray and Woogie converts it out. Damwon, 2 rounds on the bounce.
The Woogiman steps up and finds those final 2 kills for Damwon KIA, and even without RIN popping off in the first couple of rounds, they are still looking solid here, Des.
Running around like ants in a nest is the only way I can describe them. I keep on talking about that movement. You're never really seeing anyone just sat in one spot and holding an angle and waiting for someone to move or do something. They're always looking to be proactive, to make sure information gathered on them is expired after half a second because they've moved away once again. It's really good, and I mentioned earlier on that fluidity is going to make some structured teams sweat a little bit because they're not too sure how to deal with it. Hyper is saying maybe the answer for that is going to be a Jackal pick coming in, looking to deal with someone like Woogiman, who has been on the roam in a couple of rounds. That previous one more lurking around with the C4. But just conscious that if someone does get off around the map, starts hanging around in basement, that's a headache that DarkZero just don't want to deal with.
It is indeed, and they've got a headache to deal with, Des. They need to start thinking about just exactly how they're going to treat it. They're 2-0 down, not the end of the world. Damwon KIA on defense at the moment. Oof, well, that's unfortunate. Coted just taking a little bit of a chip out of RoyBoy there as he opens up a line of sight in the 90 wall through from Games Room. RoyBoy on the Valkyrie just taking a little bit of damage off that shotgun blast. It's little elements like that. It's not the end of the world. Of course it's not the end of the world, but if RoyBoy finds himself in a head-to-head gunfight later in the round, it's an important one. You never know. That could be the difference maker. So, need to be careful in those setups. You don't want those little mistakes sort of creeping in and being replicated. RoyBoy just looking for a peek out onto the ruins there, but he's not going to find one as DarkZero have all spawned on at least the side. They're all on the north side. Eclipse just on his own over on the trophy side of things there, but it looks like it's going to be a fairly direct push from DarkZero.
Yeah,
Pamber's racing in there.
Oh yeah, man, he's basically got a joystick on the downstairs here, got below, wants to blow up the floor, remove any of the electronics above so they can get this wall open nice and easy. I thought you'd see the sledge maybe staying off on the west there to challenge off from Wolf window and prevent rotates around the landing area, but no. He's moved off towards, at least for a second, that Astro window where he got C4 twice previously. So one to watch out for that, I imagine. There goes Pamber doing his work from below.
RIN just having to dip away from that wall, was playing a little bit closer there, as was Yass, but they know that there's the potential threat from underneath now that that's been opened up. Pamber just hanging around for the time being, will clear out the electrification, but Yass has still got, I think, an electroclaw in hand and ready to go. Yes, one in pocket, so we'll be able to attempt a denial there. And I'm not sure if Pamber's actually moved from underneath. Perfect timing. There you go. Just going to collect it again. Keep doing that all day. It's a little bit easier against the Hibana pellets. That is always one of the choices, Des, when you're looking at which hard breacher to bring. Now, Pamber looking to open up a bigger angle here, but there's going to be no opportunity this time.
BC only had 6 pellets left. He can't get a full one to be able to walk through, even like a 4 and a 4 to make like a wall that you can walk through. It's not going to happen. They've got a low level one to be able to threaten onto members of the side of Damwon, and sure enough, RIN's the first one to go down. But they've gone through all their pellets there so aggressively, and it's kind of come back to bite them a little bit.
This is it, and it's one of the risks. Like I say, you know, you pick your hard breacher, and Hibana, those X-Karos pellets, the fuse time is longer. What a shot from Yass! He lines it up, he steps out and finds himself a peek, but BC shuts him down in an immediate trade, and DarkZero find themselves still with a man advantage, but still with the same problem of access to sight and where it's going to come from.
Oh, too easy on that nade as well. Yass, I think, overstepped ever so slightly, got the one, didn't want to pull back. That is the kind of APAC style where in, say, NA, maybe even an EU, maybe less so LATAM, you kind of see them pull back and be a bit more defensive about their angles here. But this could be a nice and easy closeout. Sure, nice for any team kill onto BC, because why not? That's a much better round coming out of DarkZero, though much more composed, and Damwon KIA left flailing a little bit.
Composed is a great word, Des, because, you know, that could have been when you get that situation of they were obviously trying to get a breach onto master bedroom wall, and when it was clear that it wasn't going to happen in a way that they could actually sort of utilize other than keeping somebody off the wall and having the not even really a line of sight because it's at foot level, you can't see through to trophy, for example, so it's not really too useful. They reacted well. They adapted well. They moved the push round to Astro. They got kills. Eclipse, great nade from the window there. I think Yass got a little bit carried away. I've got to say, it was an absolutely beautiful peek onto master bedroom window. But he doesn't need to push in. He doesn't need to push in there and try and get kills in closet and bathroom. There's no immediate pressure mounting at that point in time. He can just hold himself in that doorway and just bide his time until the opportunity presents itself.
Well, let's see how things play out now. We've got the full reset of sites, because if we go down the same path that we've been in those first 3 rounds, 4 and 2 at the half is what we're looking to run into. A trophy and statuary being that, air quotes, off-site that clearly DarkZero seems to have a bit of a knack for breaking apart. On the south side, if you remember last time, there was really heavy resistance up towards the north side earlier on. In fact, these walls that are being reinforced by Damwon KIA now are the same sort of thing that TSM did yesterday. It was Bolo that you'd often see hanging around inside of statuary. From there, would roam on the Goyo, do a little bit of damage, try and keep him at bay, throw a C4 out, for example, and then beeline it back to site, being aware of a potential rotation cut coming in onto Wolf window. So let's keep a close eye on Hyper, for example, who appears to be the player on that west side. I imagine he'll take control of Wolf window and just try and stop anyone rotating back down through landing onto site, for example, once the rest of DarkZero start putting the pressure on.
A lot of noise and a lot of early gunfire, but no damage done to any operators yet. We've still got RIN and RoyBoy in position. Like I said previously, DarkZero want to be looking at getting them moved around the minute mark if they can do. They don't want to allow them to waste too much time. Yass is just on that doorway again, and I mean, he had a great peek out of there last time, as we saw, just playing in between the angle of that door frame and deployable shield. He will be able to dip behind the Vulcan shield, but of course needs to be careful. If it does get breached with any explosives, there could be trouble. Now, I'm going to have that wall opened up, and that really should signal RIN moving out of there. Now, this, I love to see, Des. This is APAC through and through. I'm going, but I'm bringing my ADSs with me, and we're going to reposition them. I love it.
I love it. Me too. Yeah, the saving of the utility. Really key there. RoyBoy at the same time did get picked off on the downstairs, so that's maybe the most unfortunate element of all of this. But a little bit of time wasted, about half the round there, losing 1 man, retaining the ADSs that have now all been redeployed inside of Aviator. Good play coming out of Damwon.
And the question is now, do DarkZero know those ADSs are there? You'd expect often there to be ADSs on that vault wall, but if the drones have gone through and the ADSs have been counted on master doorway, if they're not aware that RIN has moved them out, again, it could be a problem. You could just see wasted utility as they're not aware pushing in there that ADSs need to be cleared. It may well be that they've picked it up on drone, but it's something to keep an eye on in the late round when the push starts to come in through that north door. Now, RIN going to wriggle away out of 90 corridor, just on the elbow there. He needs to just drop back and keep himself safe because Hyper is pressuring. DarkZero are looking pretty good at the minute, Des. 50 seconds left to go, man advantage, plenty of time. They could just do with another kill to speed them up. Where is RIN going?
Quote for me again, it's going to be all about what's going on in the study as well. Sure, RIN's the one trying to be a little bit cheeky for a potential jump out. I thought for a second he was thinking about there. Absolutely not to be the case. Pamber's the one on the downstairs here, removing that shield from below, but 3 ADSs still stand. So smokes, for example, which are now currently none left, have already been consumed by the looks of it. From Hyper can do seemingly nothing. Here comes RIN. What damage can he do, though? Red stairs is going to be the one, and at this exact moment is when they step away and stop watching Red. He can strike so big here as well if he gets to flank in. Must know that all off to his left. Oh my word, this could be disastrous. Sees the one on the door. Doesn't see the one lay down, though. Gets traded out. Still going in for the plant at this point, though. It's a 1 versus 3 for Woogie. 1 or 2 more crucial shots could have been the winner, but DarkZero are the ones that walk away with the round.
DarkZero, I don't want to say they got away with one there because RIN comes in on a big flank there. It could have gone very differently, but I'm not going to say that DarkZero got away with it because I think they actually reacted fantastically well. That first kill comes in. RIN's absolute priority is, can I drop the diffuser? I know it's going to be in behind vault. You know, there's a question there. Do you pick up the rest of the players behind maps? Do you prioritize the diffuser? I think given the stage in the round, it's, you know, a reasonable train of thought, but DarkZero reacted fantastically well. Got the kill onto RIN that was absolutely essential to protect NJR, manages to get that diffuser down, and they were able to close out the round, even amid that late round chaos, because there was kills falling on both sides. They lost a couple of players, and it would have been easy to take your eye off the ball, but they didn't. And well played DarkZero there in round 4 to level things up 2-2. So we had a strong start from Damwon KIA. They've been reined back in now by the DarkZero, and they're going to try They've got to try to get themselves the advantage on this defensive half, but it's not going to be easy.
I'm with you as well on the kind of play coming out of Rin. I think if he saw the one player standing in study door, but didn't see the one lay down behind the ruse table to the left. That was the one that ultimately led to his demise. Couldn't quite get the planter in that case. If that had played out ever so slightly different, that round was done for DarkZero. As you say, going for the planter, shutting everything down. That was the dream play. But those are the moments you look back on and think, if that had gone ever so slightly differently, suddenly now we're having a different conversation. Not to be the case at 2-2 we sit. This one a little bit of a different setup as well, with a couple of members holding up on the top floor. The full reinforcement coming in onto the trophy wallway. Just to try and keep Woogie safe here, with even a jammer behind it as well, and a shield in support. Plenty they want to say here and say, no, we're not giving this one away. Rin dealt with incredibly quickly by Hyper.
Rin's having a little bit of a nightmare today. 3 opening deaths so far out of 5 rounds, and it certainly seems that DarkZero have been able to locate him and just really pinpoint him, deal with him very quickly round after round. So just really neutralising what was an important and sort of vital threat for Damwon KIA yesterday, and it's just maybe giving the rest of the team a little bit less space as well, because now they're having to cover that space that Rin would normally be taking up. They're having to cover those angles, they're having to make those challenges, and how are Damwon KIA going to adapt to this long term if it continues to happen?
I agree, yeah. I mean, it's 3 rounds as well, rounds 2, 3, and 5, in which Rin is going to be opening death for the team. Not what you want from the player that was absolutely singing yesterday in their game against G2, but that's how it's going to have to be. We're back on the pulse, as we saw in the last time round when they played this site in round number 2. No doubt fishing for the same sort of C4s that we saw coming out before. Only this time round, you've got Woogie playing up on the top floor rather than looking to support with C4s from below. May look to rotate back down a little bit later on, but for now, that C4 duty comes in for Coted and RoyBoy. Please tell me they see him. Oh my god.
Don't think they do. Woogiman with a good bit of trigger discipline. Can't find 2 though, as Pamber just manages to wheel 180 and find a second onto Yass. Big plays coming out of Pamber so far. That puts him 7 kills inside of 5 rounds. And DarkZero, they've really taken command of round 5 here. Find themselves 4 versus 2. Vertical superiority is theirs. They can start opening up those angles. It's all down to Coted and RoyBoy inside a sight, and it's going to get sweaty down there in the kitchen.
Honestly, Pamber is having a game so far. Yesterday it was all about NJR, but today we're talking about Pamber. Whether it's been on the entry, whether it's been in the mid-round, finding these critical kills for the team, really driving DarkZero forward and sitting as that driving force behind them. Coted, now looking to challenge right at the window, but you can hear the drones coming out as well. He could go for the jump out if he feels a little bit funky about this one. Knows that the man's there. Out comes one. Shotgun in hand. Misses the shot. Still hanging close, but doesn't want to get close enough that the shotgun becomes a bit of a terror. Goes for the swing anyway, and NJR collects Coted. RoyBoy in a 1 versus 4. I don't see how he holds on to this one.
RoyBoy just manages to find the one through the soft wall, but BC gets that diffuser down and activated. Kill onto NJR, but almost certainly impactless here, as RoyBoy, low health on the pulse with the UMP, certainly doesn't have the tools necessary for a 1v3, normally speaking, in terms of the weapon in his hand, and it's going to be BC to shut him down. I think fair to say the UMP is not known for its 1v3 clutches, Des.
Can't really say it's that sort of gun, is it, to be honest? Canadian might disagree, but definitely not what the UMP's on that list of things that can clutch out that big. It was one of those rat plays again. We saw it twice from APAC in the last 24 hours as well, thinking on it, where one was hiding in the bath, now one's hiding behind the cabinet. Really surprised that drone didn't pick Woogie up, but alas, clearly the focus going elsewhere. Maybe a little bit tunnel vision there from the side of DarkZero. If nothing else, APAC teams are going to be ensuring that all these Western teams focus so heavily on droning in future that they don't get caught out by stuff like that.
The thing is, it's going to waste a bit of time as well. You know, the more sort of little nooks and crannies that you have to get into with your drone and check absolutely every single pixel, it takes longer to do it. You can't move in as aggressively, and that's what Damwon KIA are trying to teach DarkZero here. But we got to give a shout out to Pamber on the back of that. Reacts fantastically, doesn't lose his life, and then finds a second in Astro. And it was really the catalyst for the rest of the round there to DarkZero to be able to go on and win that. But for me, DarkZero right now, they're really in the driving seat. This is on the attack of Villa. They're looking good. I asked questions before coming into this. It wasn't a suggestion that they couldn't, but I said really after the day that NJR had yesterday, we need to see other players able to step up should he not put those numbers down, and that's exactly what we get in Pamber saying, yep, NJR's quiet today. That's absolutely fine because I'm going to take the kills instead.
Okie dokie. Well, DarkZero have rallied themselves around after those first couple of rounds. Deficit they find themselves in. Now they are back in the black. Things are looking healthy in the bank balance of DarkZero. Turn this into a 4-2. You'll be singing if you get that kind of result against Damwon in the first half. Really, or is the defense as well is where I expect Damwon to do well on a map like this, to get on the road, to get up there causing some trouble. But where they really shone yesterday against G2 was on the attack. And sure, RIN isn't yet putting up the numbers that we saw coming out of him yesterday, but there's still time. As I always like to say, there are two halves to a game of Siege, Tim.
Oh, there certainly is. I mean, Damwon KIA right now, here in round 6, they need an entry kill. They need to power through the round, just lock it down, get it leveled up at 3-3, and then they can just come in clean slate for the next round and just try to, you know, get something happening on the attack. And as you say, maybe hopefully get RIN firing and start finding those shots and those kills that he was putting down yesterday. For the time being, RIN and RoyBoy are going to drop out of that top half a lot quicker from DarkZero this time around. I said it previously in the earlier rounds, it was taking about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes for them to clear that area out. Now we're looking at 1 minute 10 seconds, and those defenders have been forced back. Now Pamber looking to pressure the bottom of red stairs. RIN is there for the time being. Makes just a token challenge there down onto the doorway to force Pamber back, but that's going to sit stagnant for a little bit until that challenge comes to fruition. Pamber's going to wait until the pressure comes from trophy and statuary.
At this point, RIN, I remember doing some absolute chaos on these red stairs before in APAC North. Have another team that I think of are ones that have really made a thing out of holding this kind of 2-point angle. But one plays on red stairs, one plays down 90 and does things like this. And you make it incredibly hard to push in here effectively. But NJR brings one back. Woogie bringing down a clips before he falls.
Woogiman just again trying to play that sort of difficult position where he's likely not to be droned and just stepping up with a bit of a surprise. Does find Eclipse, but again, Damwon KIA just get caught out as DarkZero are ready for those surprises. They've got control of the north side of the map now. RIN's been forced back to study. We've got Yass underneath. That's one to watch for. Not sure exactly what the play is going to be. Potentially up red stairs, but right now hanging around underneath that default plant spot.
Lurking for now. Held on that red stairs pretty fast. It's all about these longer angle denials that we spoke about before. This time around, there is BC looking to challenge, and he wins the fight on RIN. That's the one that you're looking for, because now they've got study control. They know they can quite confidently push in and go for a plant. But the problem is, let's not forget, the finger boost makes you inhale more damage from that smoke, but they found the kills. Forget about the smoke when you've got bullets. Who cares about that? Yass standing alone in a 1 versus 4. DarkZero looking to take their 4th attacking round, and Yass has got to pull off some real magic here. They have a great idea of where it is that he's pushing from. One holding the angle here, any steps, and now that the call has been made, can Yass win his ones? In this case, no. Hitting the deck on the other side. I think this one is going to end up going the way of DarkZero. There's no way Ace that he finds enough time to get 4 kills, to get Damwon over the finish line. Great shot all the same.
Oh, it's a beautiful headshot through onto NJR, but as you say, it's going to be impactless more than likely. 12 seconds left to go to leave him enough time to be able to disable that activated diffuser. 3 kills to find before he can even think about it. Really, he's looking to get himself a cheap kill or 2 here and just give the team time to have a talk about exactly what's going on, because that is now 4 rounds in a row for DarkZero. They've taken a strong advantage off the attack and come on to the defensive half of Villa. It's not looking good for Damwon KIA right now, and I'm starting to wonder about the map choice and potentially taking DarkZero to Villa. Was that the best idea? I don't know.
It's one of those where Cyclops said as much after SI. They said, you know, at SI, we were playing the game of other regions. We were adapting to their play style and trying to play their style of game. And they said, you know, coming into the major, we want to play our style of game. And that is what Cyclops have kind of championed for APAC coming into it. And for Damwon, I like and at least respect the fact that they said, you know, Villa is a map that we like as well. We know you guys like it, but it's a comfortable map for us. We're not going to sit here and be afraid of you on a map that you're pretty good at, because we know we're also good on it. So don't really blame the map choice so much, but you have to look again at how the entries have been going. RIN, 0 and 3 on entries. Those 19 kills that he picked up yesterday, nowhere to be seen. At the moment, the worst performer in the game, which feels like such a weird thing to say after how well he played yesterday.
Oh, it's tough, yeah, and, you know, there's no two ways about that. It's coming into it, I said consistency. Consistency is the question mark for Damwon KIA, and this is what we've seen in APAC North. They come in, have an amazing game, and then they come in and they struggle to follow up with that same sort of ferocity, and we just need to see a point, and it will come with time, whereby the good games, the great games, is what we are seeing regularly, time after time after time, and they're just struggling to get things going a little bit today. Maybe things change. Obviously, coming onto the attack just gives them a little bit of a different focus. It gives them a shift. You said yourself, Des, they played well on the attack yesterday. Hopefully, they can bring some of that same energy now.
Fingers crossed. Gonna have to see something pretty special from them, mind you. The attack and pacing yesterday against G2 was brilliant. But to repeat it on a second day, as mentioned, after you've been to sleep, the kind of adrenaline's worn off, you've had that first experience, everything can change. DarkZero and Aviator games, it's always going to be that bread and butter go-to first sight. And on the side of Damwon KIA, interestingly, only one set of frags coming out, whereas in this meta, I feel like we're used to seeing, you know, doubles being brought along in more instances than not.
I'm interested to see how DarkZero fare up on the defense as well. I won't necessarily say done everything right so far. They've been caught out a couple of times, but what DarkZero have done particularly well is react. It's been that moment whereby you get caught by the man in shower. They've reacted well to it, and they've come out on top of that situation. They get caught by a Woogiman in 90 corridor, gets the kill onto Eclipse, but reacted well. And that's what DarkZero keep doing, and that's going to help them on defense, because, again, they don't know exactly what the attack is going to bring to them. Right now, it's going to bring death, as Yass finds a headshot onto Pamber, and that could be a big start for Damwon KIA here. Pamber going very well so far, but you look across the team, Des, and he's not a million miles ahead in terms of kills. BC is having a game. Hyper's involved. NJR and Eclipse only a couple of kills behind those, and there we go. First one comes in for Eclipse, manages to get him, but RoyBoy straight in with the trade. That's what we want to see from Damwon KIA. Quick, decisive play, getting the trades, keeping the man count in your advantage.
At this point, I always want to raise and mention, I don't believe in fate or storyline so much, but G2 were up 4-2 on the attack on Clubhouse yesterday against Damwon KIA before the reverse swing came in. This has been a phenomenal first round coming out of Damwon, playing for the trades, playing aggressively, and leaving NJR in a 1 versus 4. If anyone can, it should be him. But he's got so much work to do, especially given we're in a post-plat. It is almost like a perfect mirror match of what we saw in round 6 just a few moments ago, Ace.
Honestly, we're getting to a point here where all bets are off. Damwon KIA come on the attack. Can they go 4-2? It's not something we'd necessarily regularly see on Villa, but it's a map that has evened out a lot over the last 6 months or so, and it's certainly possible. Damwon KIA coming in and very importantly breaking the stride of DarkZero. That for me is a key factor there. DarkZero coming with 4 rounds in a row. They've now taken a loss, and Damwon KIA are back within 1 round. And for me, if I'm DarkZero, I'm thinking I've just won 4 rounds in a row and I'm only 1 round ahead. Like, that's pretty tight. You're getting reeled back in at that point.
Is this the world that we now stand in, where even maps like Villa that we look at as being a normally defender-favoured map, given the size of it, given the single doorways that you often have to go pushing through, are we in that world where attackers are the ones that commonly walk away the victors?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. There'll be a few more changes come before we get to that point. You know, I mean, statistically, if we're looking at that, defensive sides, at competitive level, there is a bit of an advantage towards defenders, but it's not huge, let me tell you that. When we talk about, you know, the defenders overall having an advantage, we're talking about 53-55% of rounds going to the defense. You know, we're not talking about huge differences here, and, you know, we're not talking about defenses always winning 5-1 and things like that. So, you know, the attackers are more than capable of getting the rounds on the board. It's just they're almost playing against 6. You know, we've said this. For anybody newer to Siege, if you wonder what I'm on about there, why are they playing against 6? They're playing against 5 operators in the clock. The defenders can sit and watch that 3 minutes tick by. If it gets all the way to 0, they win. So long as that diffuser's not down, simple as that. Whereas the attackers, they've got to make something happen in that time. So they've got this extra factor to fight against.
I tend to say that normally the attackers are the ones who have to be the proactive ones, whereas the defenders are the reactive ones. The attackers control the pace. The defenders tend to dictate what it is the attackers need to do, but how fast they speedrun it is entirely their call. That previous round, a pretty speedy one. coming out of Damwon KIA. Interesting hold coming out here for the side of DarkZero as well, with the Rook and the Dot coming in together. I would be breaking my contract if I didn't mention that Snurreleif, a Nordic caster, calls this the Duck combo as a pairing. The whole lineup in general looking very blue, with the Clash also coming along. A hold inside of the closet. One that we don't see all that much anymore. Normally you used to see like an Ella playing in there with the Titan Killer shotgun, for example. But there's a problem. There's something called a Flores, and now Eclipse is in hot water. Takes a bit of damage. NJR finding himself injured. Eclipse juicing himself back up. They can just keep on doing this. Just keep on sending these drones of death in to try and find where he is. And there's another one coming in. He's trapped again. Runs for the window. Goes for the swing. And Eclipse wins the trade-off against Rin.
Particularly important before that challenge, Des. Eclipse used his final stim pistol to juice himself up. He was actually overhealed when he went to the window there and took the challenge onto Rin, and it's a great decision. NJR now going to find himself shot in the back and shut down. There will be no stim pistol on Earth that can bring him back from that one, as RoyBoy finds him. Coted shuts down the Doc, just surgically removes him from the map there with a headshot, and finds us now 4 versus 3 in favour of Damwon KIA. 1 minute 15 left to go. BC moves himself through the rotate to try and get in to make any sort of challenge in towards bathroom here. Does find one on the long angle towards Woogiman, which was a trade, but then shut down by Yass. The pressure is coming. Damwon KIA, Des, they're doing it. They're going to level things up here. It's 2 versus 1 as Hyper manages to find one. 55 seconds left to survive is an absolute age, though.
I personally welcome our new APAC Overlords, and the way this game's playing out, that Overlord era might start a bit sooner rather than later. Hyper in the 1 versus 2. A slither of HP. A single bullet enough to put him in a coffin and bury him 6 feet under. Yass is the one to find it. Down 1, bring things even at 4 apiece. Is there going to be another NA upset from an APAC team?
Certainly possible at this point in time. DarkZero struggling to get a defense successfully on the board so far. 4 we find ourselves. We're going to have Damwon KIA calling a tactical timeout. They've decided after getting a couple of rounds on the board that maybe it's time to just take a breath and just have a chat. See exactly what they can solidify here. That's what it's all about. It's about just solidifying things. Just maybe they feel like things are getting a bit busy. Just slow them down. Just let's start focusing.
It makes me nervous because Invictus did this yesterday. They had 2 rounds back-to-back against Empire. Round 9 and 10 of that game, by the way, on Consulate. Fully recommend anyone goes back to watch because there were 2 brilliant executes. One into the garage of Consulate, the other one into Press and Lobby. The Press and Lobby one, incredibly impressive, where Empire simply didn't have a response. But after those 2 great rounds, they called a tactical timeout. What happened next? Empire came back and won 3 rounds on the bounce. It was one of those that I look at, 2 rounds on the bounce, sorry. And I was just like, you had the momentum, you had the creativity. Empire were reeling and you gave them time to talk and fix things. It's almost like I'm worried here that we might see the same coming out of the side of Damwon KIA. Fingers crossed not. But this is a good point for DarkZero to also have that conversation and say, right, what do we need to fix? Because this keeps on happening. We're slowly starting to bleed out rounds here. 2 have now gone against us. We haven't yet won a defense. We're at the point where if it carries on down this trend path, Damwon are well on the way to victory.
Certainly could be, but like you say, it's always an interesting choice. And let's just mentally, everybody, just remember this round, because we may well be coming back to this when we know the final result. We could be looking at this and just asking questions. If DarkZero are able to come back into this and get themselves a couple of defenses, it's always an interesting point when a team calls a tactical timeout after winning a couple of rounds, because normally momentum can be extremely important and you just want to keep rolling. You just want to keep those gunners in the server, just hitting the shots and just keep them warm. But no, Damwon KIA choosing to take the break. They're just going to settle things down. They're going to be attacking onto dining and kitchen. It's the first time that we've seen them attack onto the lower floor so far. DarkZero just not wanting to repeat either Aviator Games or Trophy Statuary yet.
I had to check chat, by the way, and see what I always like seeing the sentiment of chat and what's going on. And one that we've got now is a spam that is ripping through Twitch chat. Hello, NA. APAC here. Are you going to get out of groups this year? Excellent question. I imagine some of them will. SSG looked great yesterday. Don't worry about them too much just yet. One thing I will give against SSG thinking on it is they have, as we mentioned for Group B, every team has got a day where they have 2 games and 2 days where they only have 1 game. SSG had their double yesterday, got 4 points. There is room for much disaster to take place in that group, but I wager that right now, they are the main hope. As we've seen, TSM 0-2 after the first day. DarkZero started really strong yesterday. A good game against NIP, but a defeat against Damwon. This is the game you need to be winning, because realistically, these are looking like your rivals for that race for second place.
Certainly could be, and I mean, absolutely, SSG are fine. Mark my words. Feel free to click. SSG are fine. SSG will go through. I'm almost sure of that. Given what we saw yesterday, it was a tough game against Furia, but as we said, it was coastline. You know, it's a roll of the dice. If you're going to go and play on coastline, there's always the potential that you're going to come away with a loss. So, yeah, I wouldn't have any major concern about Space Station. I would have some concern about Eclipse, though, taking an awful lot of damage inside the site there. He's down to maybe about 30 HP. He's only a couple of bullets away from dying. That's not ideal at all. We've got Yass straight away inside of the laundry there, looking to potentially begin work. I'm not sure if they're going to look to get that wall open or not. They've got coted on the ace. He is going to come in with the Selma. There we go. So, out comes the nitro. Not going to be successful there. Yeah. It's a waste of a nitro.
No, he completely missed it. It is. It's a big one to lose as well, because you're looking to that towards the vertical destruction. But clearly, I think on their side, they were wondering, well, if this wall gets open now, we lose all capability to play comfortably downstairs and play for these C4s, because now you're in perpetual fear of Yass being on this rotate that's just been opened up. It can vault in at a moment's notice and do some real damage. So BC has got to be careful here. Try and stick away from that wall, and even then, keep a close eye on if anyone does try and zip their way through it.
RIN could get caught out here, and does, as Pamber steps round. Knew the man was there and shuts him down with a headshot. Yet another entry death for RIN. It is turning out to be a much tougher day than yesterday. 5 versus 4 as DarkZero take themselves an early lead, but that is immediately clocked back by coted as he finds the kill. A very late trade onto Pamber there, shutting down the Jaeger and leaving us now 4 versus 4. 1 minute 10 left to go. Damwon KIA pretty much in control of the top floor. They've got NJR up there with them, but not too much of a challenge likely to come in onto the position they're in. He's going to hold them away from Astro, but they can start working the vertical angles.
They have 1 C4 left, and it's in Hyper's hands. NGR finding the kill with the FMG up on the top floor. I mentioned we might start seeing more players doing this after Citizen started popularizing it inside of EUL, and it seems to be catching on like a bit of a bug. However, 4 versus 3 for DarkZero and 40 seconds still to play. This round's not looking too bad for them. But I'm always nervous because you've just seen a couple of rounds in this match already. What Damwon can do, they burst into sight and pick up 3 kills in the close. And you've got a couple of low health members, Eclipse and BC, 1 bullet away from death.
That's it. There's certainly some situations, some problems on the side of DarkZero, but with 20 seconds left to go, it feels a little bit like Damwon KIA have maybe just run out of ideas here about how to get in and get that diffuser down. Great spot out from Yass, though. Knew exactly where BC was and was able to go down, but Eclipse is the problem. He's got the rotation covered. He will be shut down by Yass. 2 versus 1 now for DarkZero, though. 3 seconds left to go. This round is done for Damwon KIA. Shut down by Hyper.
Nice.
And DarkZero lock out their first successful defense on Villa.
Yeah, Hyper doing a good job there up towards the north side. Played it so patiently as well. Set out to the west on the north side, just saying, look, C4's in back pocket. I'm playing patiently. I'm waiting. And as soon as that push does eventually come in from the side of Damwon KIA, we mentioned about them getting that single wall opened up and said this is going to be a threat all round long. He's there. He's patient. He's ready. There's 2 closing kills, both going the way of Hyper. Aviator game is going to be where we step next. Turns out the offsite in this case then for Damwon KIA was going to be the downstairs in dining and kitchen. Aviator, where they looked a little more comfortable earlier on. We'll see if DZ can mix things up a little bit here, catch them off guard potentially, or just disrupt them early into the round in the same way that we saw Damwon KIA doing that against DarkZero by getting those C4s onto the Astro window. That was the big difference maker for them in the early round. We need to see some creativity out of DarkZero.
DarkZero, 1 more round for them. A successful defensive Aviator games will secure them overtime as a minimum, which in turn effectively secures them at least 1 point out of this game, because even if they lose in overtime, they would still pick up that 1 point for the league table. It's very tight. We knew that this one was going to be close. There's coming into it, I said we had 2 very evenly matched teams. I'm glad that Damwon KIA have managed to step up after what was a tough opening. It just shows the resilience that they've got as a team, able to turn it around. A strong mental game, not phased by the fact that they were 4-2 down to DarkZero, and they fought their way back into it. But DarkZero getting themselves that big opening defensive round. It's the first one they've taken. It's the first of the 3 attempts, and they need to just carry that momentum now. Get this round, and I feel like the seal is broken then, and I feel like they go on to win the game in regular time. But if Damwon KIA can lock it up here, tie it up 5-5 again, guarantee 12 rounds, I mean, it's almost as if there's something to do with you and I casting in overtime, Des.
Ah, that's a superstition, mate. I don't know what you're on about.
It's a myth. My voice doesn't believe that it's a myth.
For those who don't know, me and A seem to be cursed with overtime. It just seems to be a thing. SI, we were the casting duo that had the most overtime games, the highest average number of rounds per games. It was just one of them that seemed to follow us the whole way through. It was a bit mental, really, all in. It was another Lion scan, though. The EE1D singing through. They've now cleared away the shield. Panbazou at least trapped for a second on the main stairs. And for much of DK, in comparison to what we saw from DarkZero on their attacks, everyone gathering up for the most part outside of RIN on the south balcony. Yass is in. How far in can they push is now the big question.
Need to be finding that entry frag, really. They've got Yass established, but he needs to get himself some space inside a study here. He's got Woogiman just supporting on that window as well. Just going to launch in. Can Yass find the kill? NJR up on the plinth. Will be shut down. Goes for a second and gets it. Big entry from Yass. BC finds one onto Woogiman, who was playing on the study window. But after that flurry of kills, Damwon KIA find themselves 4-3 up in terms of manpower. And they are fighting hard here to get themselves another successful attack of Aviator Games.
I was really nervous of BC as well because he had that clean angle in a way that he could look down through the laser gate into study and find himself a freebie. But I think a little bit too passive there. Was worried that someone was watching the door. Completely understandable. However, Yass really makes them pay for it in this case. 4 versus 3 and 60 seconds to play. It's the time to go big, but Hyper wants to make sure those numbers are equalized out at a 3 versus 3.
Will be successful. We've got the X-Kairos pellets from coted just being applied there. Nades going in from Yass just to clear off, but we can see they are, or were, jammed out by one of those mute jammers. That's been cleared away now, so the line of sight will be opened to the back of bar. It will potentially allow them to get in there and think about getting a plant down, but there's Hyper and there's BC to go through before that happens. Yass goes through the first, but Eclipse is able to trade it. 2 versus 2. BC doubles down and finds one onto coted. 2 versus 1 now. This is all going DarkZero's way. It could be guaranteed overtime. RIN, the master of yesterday, shut down today by BC to put DarkZero on 6 rounds here on Villa and guarantee overtime as a minimum against Damwon KIA. They're going to look to push on and take this here and now, though.
It's the curse of the APAC overtime. They kill their own momentum. They give the other team time to think, and it makes me nervous every time I see it. Damwon KIA, you'll be asking questions as, you know, okay, a timeout, cool, if you want to try and come up with something new for that downstairs attack, but you've given DarkZero the room to breathe. They've now got 2 rounds on the bounce, 1 more. They walk away the winner. And given again that overtime loss yesterday against NIP, the win against G2, what would be a win against Damwon KIA, they put themselves in a commanding position to be the team going through on this group in 2nd place.
Trophy statuary is potentially going to be Damwon KIA's last hope. They have no more mistakes to make now. They need to get in there and they need to get 2 wins to push this through to overtime. Or they might be, if you remember, we told you to remember a round, and it was round 8. It was the end of round 8 where that tactical timeout came in. Damwon KIA, having won 2 rounds, got themselves back level, chose to take a pause, chose to slow things down, and they haven't won a round since. DarkZero able to come in following that round 9, win their first defensive round. They've then just won their 2nd, and they're starting to run away with this. They feel like they are in the supreme position here to shut this game down, and Damwon KIA might just be ruining that decision come the end of this game.
I had to check what was going on over on the A stream, where BDS are currently 4-1 up against the Sonics, and Shock Horror take a quick peek, and Breeday's had a 1 versus 3 clutch. Best support player in the world. Always the conversation that we're having. Can't wait to see them here on the B stream later on as well. We will be having BDS versus Team 1, I believe it is. What a screamer that will be. And you and Jackie going to cast that one together, Ace.
We certainly are. We felt like bringing back a little bit of the LATAM spice. It never hurts.
Does not at all. And they have me and Jackie next for Navi versus Furia.
Exciting.
I do want to touch on RIN again for a second, by the way. It's not been going well. Again, 0 and 5 on the entry. Now, he's not strictly playing in a solid entry role here. Maybe look towards Yass and suggest there is something there. But it does help at least give some highlight to Yass, a player that I think is worth picking up. We keep on saying, or at least I do. I don't know if anyone agrees with me, if I'm just speaking into a void at this point. But 11 and Yass, for my money, the 2 best players that we have got in the region of APAC North.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree. And right now, Damwon KIA desperately need Yass or anybody else on this side to come in, take these last couple of rounds by the scruff of the neck. Imagine a big 2, a big 3K right now, just to really fire them up and push them forwards towards getting a win. And that's exactly what Damwon KIA could do with. Coted gets in. He's going to start opening up the peak hole in that wall. 1x Kairos pellet will survive the impact nade of BC, and that's going to allow him now to just start taking some measures to open up more of the wall. We've got a second impact nade comes out. That's going to be BC's utility expended, and that will now allow Coted to open up that master wall inside a minute and a half, so not bad at all.
It's taking a little bit of time, but not the worst. A good bit of time wasted as well by the defensive side of DarkZero. If you recall back on DarkZero's attacks, they burned pretty much all their pellets in three bursts trying to get this master wall open, and constantly denied away by the Kite Electro Force. So that's one to be mindful of, is the fact that Damwon have got that open a little bit quicker. What a shot from Eclipse. Reaction time of a god there. Woogie stepping across into the firing line, loses his life. That could be the kill that sets this in motion, Ace.
It really could. It was an absolutely wonderfully timed shot there. Just look at that from Eclipse. Absolutely shuts down Yass with a one-tap right across the map. And that is going to put DarkZero in a commanding position now. 5 versus 3. And it's all being won by Eclipse out of Astro. He has looked at the stars and he sees DarkZero's future there. And it's a win. And it could be an ace. That's 4 kills for him. He just misses the man in master. Takes a few shots. Lets him know that he's there. 20 seconds left to go. It's all down to RIN. This is the last hope for Damwon KIA inside of this group stage game against DarkZero. Eclipse, he's looking for it. You just feel the team are allowing him the chance, and that's the ace that wins the round, wins the map, and wins the day for DarkZero.
A relatively quiet map in terms of individual performance overall, I'd go as far as saying, but for Yass to get a 3K in round 10, Eclipse the ace in round number 11. What a game that has been.